Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the morning ride right here on AUIB FM 101.5. This is where we're reaching the segment of Wellness Talk, which is a segment in collaboration with the Wellness Center of AUIB. Today, we're talking about the most important three pillars in life, which is nutrition, sleep, and exercise. And the topic is one that affects everyone, and those three habits shape our mood, our energy levels, also our concentration levels. So today we have D.Jenifer with us again from the Wellness Center of AUIB to discuss this further. Welcome, D.Jenifer.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to be here.
Yes. So today we're discussing the three most important pillars in life, which is sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Why do you think that these are considered the three pillars? Why are they so important?
Yes, absolutely. So we know that these three pillars not only affect how well we manage stress, which is so critical because stress is something that all of us have to deal with. And so not only do they help increase our ability to be able to manage stress really well, but they also are preventative. So when we have these habits in place, then they increase our resiliency so that then even when we're in a good place, when we're following these habits, then when stress does come unexpectedly or something happens that is stressful for us, then we're better able to handle that stress.
Mm-hmm. Well, how... a lot of students and maybe a lot of people do not realize that the breakage of one of them, like if you don't have good sleep, you don't have good nutrition or exercise, can really affect your mental health. How can, the imbalance of one of them really affect our mental health, and not just mental health, our life maybe in general?
Definitely. It's such a good question. You can be exercising a lot or going and going and going, but if you're not getting enough sleep, then you're not recovering from that. And if you are, let's say you're exercising and maybe getting some sleep, but you're not fueling your body with good, healthy nutrition, then your body doesn't have what it needs in order to perform well, and there's not enough resources left over for our daily lives. So it is very important that we're incorporating all three of these into our life.
Well, we're definitely going to talk more in details how to keep up with those three pillars and how to stay healthy in the matters of nutrition, sleep, and exercise. But first of all, I would like to say something that maybe a lot of us in the young adults always say, that as long as I'm young, I'm still young, so there's no need for me to exercise, no need for me to really focus on my nutrition. I'd just have fun and just eat whatever I want and sleep at the hours that I want. It won't affect me. And when I get older, I'll start practicing healthy, exercises and nutrition. How false is that, and how much does it harm our life?
Of course. There's really several reasons why this is a harmful way to look at these three pillars. But maybe the first is that it still matters how you perform now. Even though you are young, it does affect you. And while we may be able to be a little bit more physically resilient at a young age, it still does affect our mood and just the way that we experience our lives. So even our levels of happiness, our levels of enjoyment, the way that we're able to handle even the small things in life are really deeply affected by this. Even when we're young and strong and healthy, it still affects us. And, I'd say another thing to think about is that once life gets even busier, let's say later when we have a family or children or we're caring for our parents, it's much more difficult to incorporate these habits. And so now is the time to learn what works for you. What kind of exercise do you enjoy? What kinds of nutrition is best for you, for your mood and your recovery? How much sleep do you need? And now is the time to be practicing those habits and putting them in place.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the students and also the workers, they have 6 to 8 hours of work and studying and exams and all of that. They always say that we don't have time until we reach to the point where it's not necessary anymore. We don't think about it. It's not a priority. So how can we start putting this as a priority? How can we know that it is really important to put it on top of the list? Because I see and I hear a lot of people when they say, I'm not going to focus on that, what I eat on breakfast or on lunch. It's just not really important. What's more important? It's our work. So how can we really put this on top of priority?
Of course, and you're so right about this. I can't tell you how many students and faculty and staff even and others come to see me and come to see us in the Wellness Center, and they say, I'm so stressed, I can't focus, I don't have any energy, I'm exhausted. And the first three questions we ask them are, how are you sleeping? Are you getting good nutrition? And are you moving? And one very common response is, I'm getting 3 and 4 hours a night of sleep because that's all I have time for. And then at the same time, they're saying how they can't focus and they're having to study longer than usual to even get the same result. And they're just feeling exhausted and miserable. So while it is difficult to tell yourself that I actually will perform better and I do need sleep, I do need those, at least 6 hours in 8 if you can make it happen. But I do need to do these things because then the amount of time I need to study, for example, will maybe be less because I'll be more productive, I'll enjoy it, and my memory will work better.
Well, the things that you mentioned, a lot of people, when they hear it, they think it's too much. Oh, I have to focus on my work, I have to focus on my study, and then I have to focus on nutrition, exercise, and sleep. It's too much. But I think, from psychologists and therapists, they do have some simple techniques and routines and habits that they can integrate. So do you have any advice for those students or people that they want to start like a step-by-step, baby steps as they call it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do. And these are really important. And as you said, taking baby steps in the beginning is really great. And that's a wonderful way to look at this, that these are cases where good enough is good enough. We cannot focus on having to be perfect or we never start or we never feel good about what we do. So when it comes to sleep, a lot of people think that a good night's sleep starts in the evening and winding down, when in reality, a good night's sleep starts in the morning. When we wake up, if we can get outside, get a little bit of sunlight, make sure that if we're enjoying our coffee and our tea and our caffeine, that's wonderful to give us energy in the morning if that's what you like. But make sure we're not having that caffeine in the afternoon, maybe not any afternoon or 2 o'clock, because that affects our sleep. It stays in our system for a very long time. And then winding down before we go to bed, making sure that we're turning off our technology, which I know is a big thing to ask.
Yeah.
But our brains associate our phones and our computers with work and schoolwork. And so when we have those things open before we go to bed, it's difficult to sleep. When it comes to nutrition, I would say, there's so many of us that resort to sugar or carbohydrates for energy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the result of this is we have an energy crash very shortly after, but we're surprised by this. We don't put that connection together. So it's really important that we're incorporating protein and healthy fat, maybe every 4 or 5 hours at the most throughout our day to keep that energy stable.
Yeah.
And when it comes to exercise, the truth is that even 5 minutes of movement help to improve our focus and our performance and our mood. And there's a lot of data out there that tells us that the results of movement, even 5 to 10 minutes of movement, give us the same chemical response in our body that things like medications for ADHD or medications for depression. And so while there's certainly a place for medications in this case, but if we want to feel better, we want to be able to focus, we want to have a good mood, just 5 to 10 minutes of good movement can provide that for us.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like really big steps, like exercising every day for a full hour. It's just like those small little baby steps can actually make the big change.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, if they don't do that, a lot of things and signs might show up. But some of them are normal. We can like prevent it or reduce it. But the others may be really big and important. So how can we know that we're struggling and it's time for us to seek help?
I love this question because often we think it's physical responses that are the first thing that show up, but the truth is it's mental. And what shows up first is a drop in mood, difficulty focusing, irritability, frustration, even exhaustion, or a feeling of being numb or shut down or wanting to give up on things that are important to us, not finding joy in things that used to bring us joy. And often the very first things, if we look to see when we're having these symptoms that have not been in our lives, it's exercise, good nutrition, and good sleep.
Well, how can the Wellness Center here inside AUIB help those students who are suffering? And maybe some of them do not realize that they're actually suffering from this, do not seek the importance of sleep, nutrition, and exercise. How can we here as a UIB community help them take the first step?
Of course. always you can come and see us. You can reach out to us. We're very good at helping people come up with easy, simple plans to incorporate these habits into their life. And we love doing this. And we particularly love doing it because the results are very quick. And it's fun to hear that when people start to incorporate these things in their life, how quickly they start to feel better and life improves and they're managing their stress so much better.
Okay. Well, one advice to the community in general about those 3 pillars of health.
Just start now. Small steps, maybe set some small goals to start every day, even 5 minutes of movement. Or just today, I'm going to get out and get some sunlight in the morning. Or just today, I'm going to take a walk for 5 minutes during my lunch hour. And be proud of yourself for even those small, simple steps.
Yes, I think the last part is really important. So thank you, Dr. Jennifer, for being here. Thank you for sharing those techniques and insights and tools. And of course, in other episodes, we will be discussing more and more maybe about something like mindfulness and things that are really important. So we will be waiting for you in the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear listeners, for listening to us in the Wellness Talk segment as we discuss sleep, nutrition, and exercise and how important they are. So take care of yourself and your body and stay tuned on AIBFM 101.5.